many people are wondering what the Yorubas want actually, and why is there so much agitation lately about this Yoruba agenda? So maybe we can start from there, sir, for you to enlighten us about what the Yorubas really want.
It all started 15,000 years ago. And don't be surprised that I went that far. I'm not saying it is restricted to 15,000 years ago, no. But science has proven that human fossils that were found at a place called Ihueleru, 24 kilometers from Akure, and 15 kilometers to a place called Isharu. Human fossils that have been carbon dated properly, and they bear the same DNA as with the DNA of the modern Yoruba, in which case we evolved here in situ. We didn't come from anywhere. We evolved here, we own the land, and throughout the trajectory, people have seen the power of the Yoruba everywhere in the world, in our culture, in our language, in our spirituality. And all of this, even before the advent of the white man, we had our own kind of democracy, which cannot be said to be inferior to any type of democracy. We had the Alafin, the Oba, as the executive arm. We had the chiefs, the Oyomesi, as the legislative arm. We had the Ogboni and the Oshubo as the judiciary. And we had the army, headed by the Are Ona Kakanfo. In which case we had separation of powers. We had the rule of law. We had every principle that guides every aspect of democracy. And we were guarding what we had so jealously. And we were ruling from the banks of River Niger to the banks of the Volta River in Ghana. You can't take anything away from the Yoruba. But we found ourselves in a situation where some people came and lumped us together with others. We don't so much mind being put together with people, but we want to be respected. We don't want to be treated like second-class citizens in our own land. And when the Onyibo came and did the amalgamation in 1914, they had the very first constitution, which was called the Clifford Constitution in 1922, which had only two principal Nigerians in it. And that was the Sultan of Sokoto and the Alaafin of Oyo. Go and check it out. No other traditional ruler was in that constitution. But they felt the need for another constitution in 1946. That gave us a unitary constitution, which led to a whole lot of riots and protests, just like we're having now. So it is not just happening now. Go back into history. We revolted, we protested as far back as 1946 that this is not what we need. We need a federal, truly federal constitution, which came, at least the British realized their mistake. And in 1949, they scrapped, listen to me, my brother. In 1949, they scrapped that constitution. And between 1946 and 1959, we had 4 constitutions. We had the 1951, we had the 1954, we had the 1957, then we had the 1959. I'm taking the 1946 out, but we had all of this coming with the Yoruba saying, we do not mind being here, but give us our own. And throughout that agitation, that period from 1946, culminating into 1949, they succumbed and gave to the Western Nigeria the very first experimentation of an African organized and run government. And the government of Papa Obafemi Awolowo in 1951 became the first government in the whole of Africa to be run by an indigenous set of people. And look at the wonderful works that Papa Awolowo did. So we couldn't have done all of that in 1946 to 1949 and be bogged down with this document that is called the 1999 Constitution, which is not a constitution of the people. which was drawn by a man called Yagudu, which has nothing to do with federalism. And look at the way it is now. We have all manners of inequality, of inequity, of iniquity even. We don't have liberty in this land, and neither do we have equal opportunity. It is a total reversal. We don't have a federal system, we have a feudal system. So why should anyone wonder what the Yoruba cause is? We want freedom. We want to breathe. Between 1951 and 1954, the experimentation was so good, they had to allow for a proper manifestation of that, because they called Papawolo a leader of government business from 1951 to 54. But after that, it was called a premier. And look at all the firsts that came. First in free education in the whole of Africa, first in television in the whole of Africa, first in modern amenities in terms of having to have industrial areas in the Old West. First in Africa. Look at Ikeja industrial area, look at Apapa, look at everywhere. And outside of Lagos country, but go to Bendel, you will even see up to today, the palm trees and everything gave rise to the revolution of the palm. That other countries in the world were coming here to come and borrow our technology, to come and take our seedlings. As in 1955, the economy of the Old West was at par with that of Singapore, was at par with that of South Korea. The royal Saudi Arabia family were all coming to UCH in Ibadan to come and be properly treated health-wise. But look what has happened to the Yoruba, the land of the first. There is a quota system, federal character, and look at what has happened. Our cut-off marks will be 200, and some other cut-off marks will be 80. And the one of 80 will still come out and be the Oga and Master. Look at what happened to us recently when somebody was sent to the International Court, and then it's found to be the person with the least qualified credentials coming from Nigeria. That will tell you the pathetic state to which we have been reduced. The Naira, now let me talk about pound sterling. The Naira at the time was 1 Naira to 2 pounds. That was the strength of the Naira. And it's so sad now that the Naira is what? 495 to 1. How did we get here? If we're going to be talking about what has led to the Yoruba cause, look at June 12th, won by a Yoruba man. But what happened? They annulled it simply because of the accident of his birth. We're going to be talking about what has led to the Yoruba cause. Have a look at all the structures. Go to customs, go to immigration, go to police, go to the military. What do you have there? Even a papa that generates 67.7% of non-oil revenue into the coffers of the federal government. Only one local government in Lagos. What is happening there? Go there. You won't find one Yoruba man. And should we simply roll over and die and accept the status of second-class citizens? Are we going to continue like this? We are industrious people. We don't want anybody to hold us back from achieving our potentialities. All over the world, go. If they say, Nigerians are doing well, half of them will be Yoruba. Everywhere, wherever you find them, in the academia, in industries, in police, in the military, all over the world. Why do we have all of that? Yoruba as a language is taught in 48 American universities. Listen to me, 48. Yoruba is spoken in Benin Republic as the official language, as well as in Cuba, as well as in Brazil. Why is it that it is even abroad that all of these things are happening? And then here, our patrimony is being trampled upon in the contraption called Nigeria in such a way that we will almost have to go the way of the Jews and say, by the rivers of Babylon, when we sat down, there we wail when we remember the glory of the Yoruba. That is what it has become. That's what it has become. So we have no choice. If we are going to simply roll over and die, then what will happen to your children? What will happen to my children? We have no choice but to fight this fight and go into this struggle with everything we've got to liberate our people. Otherwise, history will ask us and even judge us and say, what did we do? Did we just open our eyes to see all of this happen to the industrious Yoruba, the illustrious Yoruba? We didn't do anything about it. So that is it. It's a very clear situation, my brother.
How did you feel on October 1 when we celebrated in 60 years of Nigeria? What went through your mind? Well, you are right about the fact that my home is AFENIFERE. It's been my home for nearly all my adult life. I belong to the highest policy-making body of the AFENIFERE, which is called the National Caucus. We are less than 60 in the whole of Yoruba land that belong to the National Caucus. It was from AFENIFERE that I was seconded to the umbrella body of all Yoruba groups, and that is the Yoruba Summit Group. And I'm the publicity secretary. So if you are asking me what do I feel about October 1, go back to the communique I issued on the platform of the YSG, the Yoruba Summit Group, which had on that day, Papa Fashion, the leader of the Yoruba, Papa Debanjo, even had Professor Akintoye, Dr. Kimba. I mentioned all the Yoruba leaders that were there. And we said, we are giving this government till 1st of October to restructure. Failure to do that, we will now be left to our own devices about how to actualize self-determination. Nobody has come to challenge us, and they can't stop us. And the truth is this: go to the United Nations Charter. The right of every indigenous group is there to aspire for self-determination. Go to the AU, African Union Charter. The same provision is there. It's even there in ECOWAS. So what do I feel about October 1? How do you want me to feel? I went to school when we were paying 50 kobo a day. I'm not saying 50 naira. I'm saying 50 kobo per day for meals. 10 naira in the morning, that is breakfast before you go to for your lectures. And then 20 kobo, sorry, 10 kobo in the morning, 10 kobo in the afternoon, 10 kobo in the evening. And we were even given bursaries. And we were doing so well. IFE then, the school I attended, had a nuclear research facility that some people came from, I can't remember that university, America, and said it's adjusted to be safely one of the best you could find. But go to IFE today, what has happened to that? When the schools were being funded and we had education. And as soon as this same president came, first he jacked it up from 50 kobo to 150 kobo, 1 naira 50. And 3 months later, he removed feeding outright from universities, cut all the funding. And that's to tell you the pathetic state to which we have found ourselves. Education that used to be the bedrock of development. Papa Awolowo did he said something in 1967 when he came out of jail and was asked to come to University of Ife to present a paper. And he said there's no nation that can grow and develop without science and technology. And that is the reason why they started University of Ife, to give the West all the necessary tools to be able to develop. But what has happened? They've scuttled everything. It's like a deliberate action to stifle the growth of the Yoruba. So what do I feel? I feel that we are stunted. I feel they have hijacked our lives.
I feel slaughtered. I feel like somebody is putting his knee on my head and I cannot breathe. That is how this 1st of October went. What is there to celebrate?